Missing teens remains found in Tesla, registered to the singer David. Everyone is talking about the David situation and not for his music. The same guy who blew up with heartbreak anthems has now been linked to one of the darkest internet ordeals of the year. What started as a viral rumor has spiraled into one of the most shocking stories on the internet. A murder investigation tangled up with one of music's new rising stars. Since then, people have been dissecting his online history, Discord chats, song demos, live streams pointing to the alleged clues that suggest both pedophilia, I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube, and also what looks to many like his potential involvement in the victim's death.
But she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. And I didn't even cry, not a single tear.
So much has happened. There's a lot to cover. Here's what's been going on. Social media has been in chaos since this David situation started happening, with new pieces to the story coming up almost daily. It started earlier this month when a Tesla that had been sitting in a Hollywood impound lot was checked because staff noticed a strange smell. Inside the trunk, police discovered the body of a teenage girl who had gone missing the year before. That detail alone would have been enough to grab attention, but the story really escalated when the registration details of the car were released. The Tesla was reportedly registered to none other than the singer David, the Here With Me singer. That's the one, correct. His real name is David Burke, a 20-year-old artist whose career has skyrocketed in the last couple of years. He's performed at Coachella and he's built his reputation off viral tracks like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. So at first, fans thought there had to be like some explanation, as did we all, I think. A lot of people assumed the car wasn't even in his possession considering he was on tour at the time, but the speculation escalated when the victim's identity was revealed. It was a 14-year-old girl named Celeste, and she had been missing for more than a year. Celeste's mother apparently connected the dots pretty early. She claimed that her daughter was dating a guy named David. Doesn't look good. And when she heard about the Tesla, she reportedly reached out to media outlets, which seemed to help push authorities to be able to confirm that it was Celeste's body in the car. One of the details that reportedly linked her to the discovery was this small tattoo on her finger. And what made the internet spiral even more was that David himself apparently has this tattoo as well. Again, it doesn't look good. Add that to the supposed Discord screenshots and recordings of live streams with David and Celeste in the live stream, apparently, as well as the rumors of him allegedly being in a relationship with her since she was 11 years old, and even claims that he paid people to stay quiet about it. And it's no surprise that this entire situation has completely spiraled online. I'm going to be spamming the word allegedly this entire video because a lot of this is speculation. Only a small amount of this has been officially confirmed by police. A lot of this is just people on the internet doing their own investigations and making claims. But some of the evidence is David's own work. Fans even started combing through his unreleased music, pointing out lyrics where he seemed to reference a girl named Celeste. It looks really bad. It's looking real bad for David. Then came the Discord allegations. Screenshots began circulating that supposedly showed conversations between David and Celeste in his server and people talking about his alleged girlfriend Celeste, with some screenshots even referencing Celeste as a missing person during the time that she was missing. Those screenshots obviously spread fast and added even more fuel to the fire, cementing this story as one of the most viral murder cases online right now. When I first saw this, I assumed this was like too insane for it to have been him. I wasn't super familiar with David before this, other than like having heard his songs on TikTok, but it just seemed so crazy that I assume there must have been some other explanation, because who leaves a decomposing body in the trunk of their car while they're on tour? I figured more information would come out that would point to him not being involved. That seemed obvious to me. That is the opposite of what happened. Every day more details come out, more screenshots, more live stream recordings, more random comments, claims from people that apparently knew them. The internet basically went into like full detective mode, pulling together anything that could tie this murder back to David. Again, this is an ongoing investigation, so more things may come to light that haven't been covered by anyone. Things that people have brought up might be proven false down the track, so we don't know. You know how the internet is, so take everything with a grain of salt, but I'm going to try my best to condense all of the updates and pieces of this puzzle into one video. If you're thinking at this point, oh my god, what is going on? I need to get off the internet. Boy, do I have some good news for you, because the sponsor of today's video is Stop Social, the app designed to actually help you take control of your screen time and stop doom scrolling. And look, we're all guilty of it. If you've ever found yourself opening TikTok or Instagram just for a minute only to realize it's been 3 hours, you know how brutal the scroll trap can be. Stop Social is built specifically to break that cycle. Unlike just setting a timer on your phone, Stop Social actually blocks those apps once you hit your daily limit. You set the boundaries and the app enforces them. No excuses or loopholes. I've been using it to cut down my late night scrolling because that is where I'm the most guilty. It is wild how much extra time I've freed up for work or just sleep. And the app even shows you like a breakdown of exactly how much time you've saved, which is both motivating and a little bit confronting. Stop Social offers personalized quit plans that fit your pace because this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. You can set custom triggers so social media gets locked out during your focus hours. It offers smart journaling where you can track your moods, your triggers, and your thoughts. It also has guided meditations and mental health tools to help clear your mind and keep your anxiety at bay and reinforce that healthy habit building. And the app teaches you insights into how social media affects your brain and gives you strategies to quit gradually. Plus, it has a progress tracker so you can see how much time you're actually saving, so you can celebrate the small wins and stay motivated. If you're serious about reclaiming your attention, whether it's for productivity, your mental health, or better sleep, Stop Social is the simplest way to achieve those goals. You can download Stop Social now on Google Play or the App Store. I'll have my link in the description. Make sure you use my code Brianne at checkout. It'll give you an exclusive discount, or my link below so they know I sent you. Try it out, see how much time you can get back. I can almost guarantee you will surprise yourself. And thanks again to Stop Social for sponsoring this video. So once Celeste's identity was confirmed, the internet started pulling together every piece of material connected to David. This included posts and lyrics and music videos, old interviews which all began to circulate. And taken together, it started to paint a picture that fans found really unsettling. One of the earliest things that people pointed to was his alter ego lore and this apparent obsession with like murder and gore. He created a character named Itami, which means pain in Japanese, describing him as like a chaotic, violent version of himself.
He wears his blindfold and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
He said that like in this story that his alter ego would commit crimes and murders that he as David would then have to solve. I think that was like the storyline for this character, which again, it's not looking good, babes. He likened it to Fight Club and how Itami is this evil version of himself that comes out at different times. And it's just, the Jekyll and Hyde of it all is just a lot. At his shows, this played out theatrically. He used coffins and casket imagery and even encouraged fans to write letters to the dead as part of the performance. One detail that a fan pointed out that is especially chilling is that in these marketing materials, the funeral for Itami, aka David's pain, had the dates February 2023 to August 2025. August 2025 is when people are claiming that Celeste was last able to be contacted by some of her friends, leading people to believe that she was killed in August 2025. Her body was then found in early September earlier this month. When this was just music marketing, it kind of just came across as like edgelord world building.
When a human being is drained of all of its blood, it becomes pale, lifeless, just as the rose, visually appealing, only good to observe and admire. But the moment you go to pick it up, you get stabbed by, or should I say, a separate part of me. He indulges himself in the thorns, dousing himself in the blood of his own negligence.
In hindsight though, fans are now looking back and asking if this apparent obsession with violence and death was more of a warning sign, or at least part of the reason why the public was so quick to believe the worst. Again, it certainly looks bad, I will say that. It just does not look good. Kind of looking like guilty until proven innocent at this point. And it gets worse, believe it or not. David also has a bunch of song lyrics, of released and unreleased songs that seem pretty telling.
Nobody ever caught me, but I've spoken too soon. In the back of a police car, I forgot whatever I knew. I ain't telling nothing, do the same if they ask you about her.
So, like, it is, yeah, it's all a bit odd, isn't it? In David's song Decide, there are lyrics that say, save your tears, 7 years. People noticed that at the time that that song released, Celeste would have been 13. 7 years from 13 would be when she's 18 years old and a legal adult. People are now seeing that lyric in a completely different light, as if it was referencing her directly. On its own, it might have been just dismissed as another cryptic lyric or personal musing, but paired with everything else that's come out, it's being read as disturbingly literal. I'd also like to take a second to say a big thank you to my upper tier patrons who keep this channel going. These guys are why I'm able to keep making videos. I couldn't do this without my patrons. If you'd like to join, head to patreon.com/BrienneWorth. There's bonus content over there. You can get your name listed in videos, and you can also get up to 20% off my clothing brand Riff Supply code, depending on what tier you choose. If you want to support the channel and get a cool tee at the same time, head to riffsupplyco.com, or again, patreon.com/BrienneWorth. There's tiers for as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps. It really, really helps. So thanks again to all of my patrons. Then there's the curious case of the music video for Romantic Homicide being released on September 7th, which is Celeste's birthday. In fact, a few different things that people have unearthed have come out on September 7th or reference September 7th in some way. If this theory does hold any weight, and given the fact that the Romantic Homicide video was released in 2022, that would have likely been her 12th birthday. If this was intentional, then one would have to assume that they would have been in a relationship longer than this if he's dedicating songs and music videos and lyrics to her, which could paint a pretty disturbing picture of his potential relations with this child. Because doing the maths, she could have been as young as 11. There were reportedly other references that David may have made to September 7th, including announcing his album on that day. He also made this post on TikTok last year where someone commented, "Please adopt me," and he replied, tagging an account named 0907, saying, "Should we?" Which people are claiming is Celeste's burner account because 0907 is September 7th. It seems like most of his fans actually weren't aware that he was allegedly in a relationship with a literal child, but it also appears like some people in his Discord and his inner circle and people that knew Celeste and David personally, or at least knew of them, it seems like quite a few people actually were aware of this, allegedly. Can I stop saying that now? So this has obviously drawn a lot of criticism, with people saying even if he had nothing to do with her murder, which we still don't know, if he was in a relationship with a child, then that would still make him a so if these theories hold any weight, this is completely indefensible no matter how you look at it. Music video imagery is another area where fans have gone back and scrutinized every single frame. Several of his videos feature death motifs, funeral aesthetics, and in some cases imagery of bodies being stuffed into car trunks, which again is not looking good. It is an increasingly bad look here, considering that's how Celeste's body was found. When these videos were first released, it was treated as theatrical choices, part of the like edgy manga inspired aesthetic that he built Itami around. Now those same visuals are circulating alongside headlines about a body being found in his own Tesla, and many people feel they can't unsee the parallels, which is fair enough. There are also visuals of his alter ego dismembering a girl that kind of looks like Celeste, and given the fact that early news outlets reported the body had been found dismembered in the trunk of the Tesla, it's just one thing after the other. It's not looking good. To be clear, the dismembering thing is not something that I think police have actually confirmed at this point. On top of the visuals, there are lyrics and demos that people say directly reference Celeste. People have found that in 2023 there was a recording of an unreleased track about a girl named Celeste who is referenced in the lyrics, alongside lines describing obsession and intimacy. Given that this song may have been about a child, fans are now describing the lyrics as haunting. People are also claiming that it is Celeste's voice at the end of the song Invisible String Theory. Again, this is still speculation, but it gets weirder. People have also been pointing out his strange obsession with Hello Kitty, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that Celeste reportedly also loved Hello Kitty and was wearing Hello Kitty sandals on the day she was last seen before she went missing. Clips on TikTok have also gone viral in recent weeks, showing a girl who appears to be Celeste backstage at his shows. Pretty visible to like everyone. People are questioning how this wasn't flagged earlier, and it's come to light that some people in the Discord were well aware of David's alleged ongoing relationship with a child. There were even comments found on some of his older posts where people were calling him out for this, and this was long before any of this became mainstream knowledge. If this was all happening the way it certainly looks like it was happening, it was kind of happening in plain sight. Discord screenshots and chat logs have been at the center of this speculation. Alleged messages between him and Celeste are circulating online. Fans say that these alleged chats suggest a relationship dynamic that was inappropriate from the very beginning. And the fact that these were shared in semi-public spaces like Discord only adds to the sense that others around him might have known before they admitted anything. It is important to stress that symbolism and lyrics and screenshots aren't necessarily hard evidence. These things can be faked. I think Most people are drawing the same conclusion though, based on what we can see so far, just because of the fact that we have eyes, that's all. But once people start making connections between his art and the disturbing reality of Celeste's death, perception shifts pretty quickly. For many people, the dots are already connected, whether or not formal investigations have a consensus on it yet. But wait, there's more. People in TikTok comments who claim to know Celeste, or at least be from the same area as her, are saying that her and David have been in a relationship since she was 11, and that her family was not only aware of it, but were being paid off by David. There were also claims that David paid other people to be quiet about the relationship. If any of this is true, again, it seemed like a pretty open secret in the circles they ran in. This guy is a p***, from what I've heard. My sister, who is now in 9th grade, told me that he was dating an 8th grader, let's call her C, and she would go on trips with him to LA. They're all in 9th grade now, and it turns out C's friends knew, and he would pay them to keep their mouth shut. C has been missing for over a month now, and no one knows her whereabouts. Definitely something strange going on. There's also video circulating of Celeste's teacher from her school saying that Celeste met this rapper on social media, ran away with him, got taken back by the cops, ran away again, and then that's when she was reported missing.
We all just found out yesterday who it was, but she's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year, May of 2024. That's when her friends told me what happened, that it was this rapper, that they were like blackmailing him, all of this stuff. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead.
Then there are also pregnancy claims. Again, at this point, there's no evidence from like the police or her family that this was ever the case. But a creator on TikTok did cover this theory much better than I can.
So a brand new Discord message was just leaked from July of 2024 where David says, "I'll join the group chat with wifey and give y'all story time." He then says, "Me and deleted user got a kid on the way." And that same deleted user posted this image, which is allegedly of Celeste's hands with the name David. And this image where she is allegedly with David somewhere that looks like backstage. And the timeline does match up to after she went missing and was with David. And people from this chat said that she was known to delete her account so that people wouldn't find her and they wouldn't find out about her relationship with David.
Another piece of the puzzle has been the places tied to David and the people around him. After the body was discovered, attention shifted to a rental property in LA, reportedly linked to him and his manager. Police raided the home and seized electronics and other evidence from that site. That detail alone added weight to the suspicions because it suggested that investigators were looking pretty closely at what might have been on his devices or inside his house. At the same time, the industry around David began pulling away quickly. Other artists who had once collaborated with him publicly distanced themselves, some even removing tracks or features to avoid association. What was once a cosign became a liability overnight. The fallout didn't stop there. His tours were paused, major promotion campaigns were halted, and even long-standing partnerships were scrubbed. In fact, the ripple effect reached as far as here in Australia, a festival that I was going to, where apparently David was supposed to be playing. He's since been removed from that lineup. It looks like David was also in campaigns with Crocs and Hollister, huge campaigns that once these headlines started coming out were rolled back and paused, if not cancelled entirely. Both brands removed campaign content featuring David while the matter is being looked into. And for David personally, the collapse appears to have been just as swift. His label reportedly froze planned rollouts. He cancelled the remainder of his tour. Fans flooded his social media, forcing him into silence. At the time that I'm filming this, his Instagram comments are off. Practically overnight, the career trajectory of a mainstream breakthrough artist was halted entirely. Whether or not charges ever come, the brand of David has most definitely taken a hit that I don't know if he will be able to recover from, although we have seen people recover from worse. And one of the most disturbing parts of the case isn't just the allegations and everything else that has happened, although if true is completely dark and twisted, but it was the kind of content that David regularly and openly posted online before all of this. Multiple TikToks show him sharing femicide related posts, videos about women being murdered or harmed, posts about men being overly controlling towards their girlfriends, and things that are just extremely off-putting and weird given the context especially. These videos went out to millions of people. This wasn't hidden at all. It was very public, and yet it didn't stop his rise. I personally think this is like a huge problem in today's society. reality. This matters because repetition changes how we perceive violence. When creators and platforms push the same violent imagery over and over and over again, we become completely desensitized to it. The shock wears off. Not only that, but it becomes its own sort of aesthetic, which he used in his marketing. It becomes content and like a trend. And when violence against women and femicide is turned into an aesthetic, women pay the price every single time. There's no positives to this. Only in researching this video, I found out there's apparently an entire side of TikTok that openly glamorizes killing women. There is a whole side of TikTok where men fantasize about killing their girlfriends. These videos rack up millions of views and are treated as like edgy entertainment, but that trend has real world consequences. You can't just pass it off as nothing. It normalizes abuse, it desensitizes audiences, and all of this feeds into a culture where women are not believed until they're dead. In fact, if all of these allegations and theories and claims are true, and if Celeste, before she died, did come forward and make all of these claims herself and said, yeah, David is all these things and David's doing all of these things to her, chances are 90% of his fans, especially the men, would not believe her. Tons of serial murderers and rapists and abusers had multiple allegations before they were ever caught, but no one believes women. And usually on top of all of that, the victims are then blamed for their abuse or blamed for their murder. Epstein had allegations from women long before he was caught. How many credible allegations does Trump have? 0 consequences, and the women are blamed 9 times out of 10. And that is the culture that permits and encourages femicide and if you defend this culture and your favorite celebrities and politicians that are constantly wrapped up in it, you are just as responsible as the people committing these crimes. The truth is simple, and it remains true whether or not David is guilty. Normalizing femicide isn't just gross, it directly causes more abuse and more murders of women and children. And that is not an opinion. That is not up for debate. That's a fact born out of, number one, common sense, but also decades of research on media and violence. And if you want to stick your head in the sand and disagree, you are either being totally dishonest with yourself or you are painfully, woefully naive. And this is where the David situation, again, whether he is guilty or not, sort of becomes a mirror to society. Whether or not he murdered Celeste, the fact that someone who publicly circulated content glamorizing femicide could still climb the charts and collaborate with household names shows the real issue. Glorifying artists with these tendencies, propping them up, turning a blind eye to their shitty behavior, claiming that it's just artists being artists is exactly what allows dangerous behavior to become normalized. If someone's art comes at the expense of the lives and safety of women and children, then they can take their art and go f themselves for all I care. If the most interesting thing that you can produce has to come at the expense of half of the population, then you're not an artist, you're not that creative, and you're just not that interesting on your own. And again, this is not specific to David, this happens all the time. Platforms have a responsibility here too. Algorithms amplify whatever people keep watching, and right now that includes content about murdering women that is framed as like memes or aesthetics. Audiences also carry responsibility. Every view, every ironic like and share adds fuel to the fire. We can't treat abusive relationships or femicide or any of this as like a passing trend that has no consequences. While we're at it, there needs to be a legit study done on why men who get a little bit of fame and success immediately turn to Again, whether David is guilty or not, this is an ongoing trend. It is disturbing. A lot of these men have everything going for them, and then their first instinct is to start kids. What? At the end of the day, the legal process is still unfolding. We'll all have to wait probably quite a while for any confirmed facts or the full story while the investigation is completed. But what doesn't require a courtroom to decide is the fact that we cannot keep normalizing violence against women. And we certainly can't keep pretending that blurred lines with minors is just part of celebrity culture. That mindset is already costing lives outside of any of this. This case is horrifying enough on its own, but the way that the internet and the industry has reacted confirms a pretty disturbing truth, and that is people will excuse almost anything up until a girl is dead. And even then, most of the time they will still try to place blame on women for their own deaths at the hands of men. That's the reality we're living in, and if we don't do something about it, it's not just one story, it's a whole cycle that repeats. So yes, we wait for the facts, but we should also take responsibility for what we choose to amplify, what we put on a pedestal, and what we're brushing off. If you've made it this far, give the video a like, leave a comment, let me know what your take is on this. Also, have I missed anything major? I'm pretty sure I've covered almost everything. This was a big, disturbing one to research. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.